that the Thunder faced a series-clinching situation. SGA had 38 points against the Grizzlies in the first drive. So what do we think's in store tonight? An encore, Perk?
We'll see.
Well, 2 of the 4 spots in the conference finals, they've been decided so far. The Pacers took down the top-seeded Cavaliers in 5 games. It's not so much the result, but the number of games. It's still a little bit shocking to me. They advanced to the conference finals for the 2nd straight year, but they are not alone in their return to the Final Four. The Minnesota Timberwolves, they punched their ticket back to the West Finals after rattling off 4 straight wins over the Golden State Warriors, punctuated by Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle combining for 50, becoming the first Minnesota duo to average 25 apiece in a series. And one thing was clear afterwards, the job, it's not finished.
The challenge we laid down to our guys from day one was quite simple. It was one question. You know, were you a Western Conference Finals team, or were you a team that just happened to make the Western Conference Finals? And there's only one way to prove that. Go out and do it again. And that was our mission all year.
Is there more satisfaction or anything just with all of the ups and downs that you guys went through that you stayed together and you're right back where you were last year?
There's no satisfaction. Yeah, we just got here. We haven't done anything yet, so no, he's not satisfied.
I love that. No, he's not satisfied. We're not satisfied. No one is satisfied. Stephen A. Ant and the Wolves aren't satisfied just getting back to the Western Conference Finals. Is this team ready to take the next step this time around?
Malika, fellas, I believe that the Minnesota Timberwolves should be the favorite to win the championship at this point. I think they should be favored over the Knicks. I think they should be favored over the Indiana Pacers. I think they should be favored over OKC even, and definitely Denver, who they beat all 4 times they played this year. I think when you see the way that they play defense, obviously that rivals OKC, who they split their 4 games with this year. But I'm going to bring up the name Julius Randle, because when I think about how he has played in these playoffs, particularly in the last 4 games of the series against Golden State, where he averaged 27 and 7.5 on, I believe, is like 56% shooting. We know what Ant-Man brings to the table. I think that when you're Oklahoma City and you're thinking about a team that you have to concern yourself with, certainly you need to be concerned with, because you're Oklahoma City and you're gifted. The flip side to it is that Minnesota could stay close enough where it could very well come down to SGA versus Ant-Man. And I just think that even though SGA is about to win league MVP, Ant-Man is so special, particularly at this moment in his career. I just find it hard to believe that I can look at anybody and say at this juncture that they should be favored over Minnesota.
And guess what? You're not wrong. What? You're not wrong. And here's why. Because through these past series, we watched growth. We watched confidence, and we watched trust. We watched Anthony Edwards grow right in front of our eyes. People were saying, oh, well, why is he not having 30? Or why is he not having 35? You know what he did? The best thing he did was be able to be that point guard and make guys around him better and keep the defense honest. He saw 2-3 zones. He saw 1-3-1s. He saw double teams. And he passed that ball with great energy to his teammates. Well, they didn't have no choice but to make shots. Like, it was passes that, I trust you, knock that down. It wasn't passes like, dang, man, you double teaming me. That's the difference. So now, as you continue to move on in the series, guess what? People got to start respecting those other guys. The defense got to be honest. Oh, we can't just trap Anthony Edwards because we can't leave Julius. We can't leave Mike Conley. Rudy finishing at the basket, and all of a sudden it opens up, and Anthony Edwards, now he could go one-on-one. I'm looking at what his team is at, how well coached they are, responding to their coach, calling them out. They mature, and they ready.
Yeah, look, I like you guys. I like you, Perk. Stephen A., I don't know. It's up in the air. It's not. It's a maybe. I would tell you that if you were here, too. No, but look, talent-wise, yes. Talent-wise. My concern with the Timberwolves is the last 3 games, 20 turnovers or more. And this is what is going to be a hard lesson, I think, for this Timberwolves team. You cannot win and get to the finals, let alone win a championship, when you're not taking care of the basketball at that level. The opponent, whether it's Denver or Oklahoma City, is going to be better than a Laker team trying to figure it out with no center, a Warriors team without Steph Curry. And by the way, congratulations to Minnesota, because Julius Randle has been great. And that trade by Tim Conley, a lot of people thought, what are you doing, Towns? This isn't looking good at the start of the year. Randall's been fantastic. Chris Finch is a great coach. They have DiVincenzo coming off the bench. Naz Reid was great. Love the team. When I watch them play, though, they make some really poor decisions. And can you overcome that as the competition elevates? That's my question. But it's not a talent problem. It is a focus and discipline problem if they don't reach their goal.
It sounds like what you're saying is they could be the team that Stephen A. is talking about, but it's the self-inflicted wounds. If they don't live up to that, it's because they beat themselves.
And you cannot beat yourself. At this point in the season, well, you can't do it.
Go ahead, Stephen A.
Go ahead.
Well, the OKC tends to do that sometimes too, Bob. I mean, in terms of not protecting the ball, in terms of their shot selection, in terms of their inability to make three-point shots at times where you would like them to do so. Even though we've seen Alex Caruso, Lou Dort, and others make some threes, there were times they were missing a lot as well. Remember how horrific, I forgot whether it was game 3 or 4, where both teams, I mean, they couldn't score. They could hit the backside of Broadway if they were standing on it. It was just ugly. But in the end, when we look at Minnesota, here's what I want us to pay attention to. Yes, they can defend. Yes, they have a superstar and a closer. Yes, they have some individuals who can make shot, the Nas Reeds of the world, a defender like McDaniels, etc. But I'm thinking about a Julius Randle that held LeBron James to 40% shooting. I'm thinking about a Julius Randle that combined with his Draymond Green with a Jimmy Butler, holding them to 19% shooting, 4 of 21 from the field. And then you see teams departing from going up against Minnesota, and they're speaking about their physicality, how they're young lions and they're coming at you. We know that Julius Randle is a bull. We know that Ant-Man can be one anytime he wants to. Rudy Gobert is legit 7-1. McDaniels, Nas Reed, these brothers are defenders. They're long and they're active. I take those things into consideration, and it's hard for me to just dismiss it. Of course, Oklahoma City can beat them, but I'm just saying it's a matchup that if it happens, I think it will be epic because it can go either way because both are similar in certain regards, and it's special to watch.
Absolutely. But when Minnesota turns over the ball, guess who takes advantage of it? If this is, in fact, the team that moves on, the Oklahoma City Thunder. They've been one of the best at doing that all season long. But when one team moves on, it's another team that's sent home packing. Earlier today, Steph and the Warriors, they held their exit interviews. Plenty of questions surrounding their future.
When we had our mind focused on a goal, like we had enough to accomplish it and get to a point where, you know, we were playing pretty high-level basketball. Does that mean we can win a championship? We hope so. And that's really all you want is a fighter's chance. If you can run that back, make some tweaks that can help our overall, you know, roster. I feel like we had enough that we showed, you know, we could be that team. That's all you really want.
So, Bob, there are over 8 billion people on this planet, and I think that it would be hard to find someone better to answer this question than you. What's next for the Golden State Warriors after all of that?
Well, he's the best one to answer it, the guy that just answered.
Okay, so you're 2.
Okay, well, in the top 5 maybe. But he said it, Malika. Fast rewind 3 months ago. This was a team that was 500 or below, right? Going nowhere, talking about making the play-in. They make a trade, Mike Dunleavy makes a trade for Jimmy Butler, and they go on a tear. Right, they went on a tear. He was the salve they needed, and especially for Curry. Steph's numbers weren't as good. When they got Jimmy Butler, he took off too. Steph has said it. He just said, I want a fighter's chance, right? I want to play in meaningful games. But for the hamstring injury, he was doing that, right? They beat the Rockets. The Rockets were a very good team. They finished the season strong. They had a chance to be, at one point, a 5 seed, a 4 seed. They ended up where they ended up, which was the 7 seed. But Steph is 37. He has accomplished probably more than he ever dreamed. He's going to go down as a top 10 player ever to play the game. He changed the game.
Top 5.
Top 5. So if you're him, you're saying, Malika, give me a chance to be competitive, right? Let me have a shot. He said it, fighter's chance, his words. They had a fighter's chance against Minnesota. They beat the Rockets. Would they have had a fighter's chance against Oklahoma City or Denver? Yeah, I think they would have if he'd stayed healthy. At this point in his career, I don't think he's saying I have to have a top 2 roster in the league. I have to be the favorite. He's not. He's been there. He's had that. You can't have that for 15 years of your career. He's just saying, Malika, give me enough around me that I can play meaningful basketball. I believe the Warriors did that and got to do that. I feel awful for him because he was playing great, and I think it would have been a much different series. Who knows who would have won? I'm proud of what the Warriors said after. They weren't saying, well, we would have won without Steph. They said, look, credit to Minnesota. But I do think that, will they try to improve? Sure. They'll try. How do they improve? We could talk for an hour about the rules, about the money they have, about the options they have, but I think Steph got what he wanted, which was a shot.
Well, I'm going to tell you what is dead for them, dead bird, tall grass. That small ball lineup with Draymond Green at the 5, that's over with. They need a big man. They need a big man. Draymond got exposed, especially without Steph being on the floor. I don't care if he goes out there and get 15 or 20 points. Steve Kerr called him the best defender that he's ever seen, right? And I believe he lied because he played with Dennis Rodman and he played with Tim Duncan, right? And Julius Randle shot over 50% when Draymond was guarding him. That's a problem. You need a big man in there that's going to get you a double-double every single night. Look across the league. Look at the teams that we still have playing right now. Indiana, they have Miles Turner. Karl Anthony Towns for the New York Knicks. You got Jokic for Denver. You have Chet and Isaiah Hartenstein for Oklahoma City. You need a lob threat. You need a guy who's going to get you about 15 points and 12 rebounds a game and be able to anchor their defense. They need athleticism. That small ball lineup is dead. No offense to Draymond Green. It's just past his time when it comes to anchoring the defense.
Stephen A. was shaking his head while Bob was talking.
Y'all are absolutely right.
Okay.
But I don't want to hear that.
Okay.
That's not the story today. Sir, I'm serious, Bob. No. Stop. Let me tell you why. Jimmy Butler. We got love for Jimmy Buckets. We know who he is. We needed him to get one game. One game. That's the story moving forward. Because when he was acquired, he wasn't just acquired in a trade and, okay, you're under contract and, okay, now you're a member of the Warriors. No. He was given a 2-year deal for over $113 million. And when Steph Curry went down early in Game 2, they said, we need one game. One. He's probably going to be back for Game 6. And I'm going to pull a first take one here and tell the producers, I need to see myself on the screen talking to Perk and Bob Myers right now. I need to look at y'all right now, okay? They said one game. Now, I'm going to ask you right here in front of Malika because I know she keeps you honest because she keeps us all honest. You're an executive, Bob. One game. One. I need one game from a dude that I gave. We all believe we've seen him do it. He took a team to the finals twice. We need one game just to get Steph Curry back. And he couldn't do it. And he attempted 11 shots last night and 9 shots the game before that. He had 20 shot attempts in 2 games. 20 shots in 2 games. Yeah. And you were the number one option. Come on now.
Okay.
We got it. Come on now.
Listen, the game was Game 3. That was the one that was the game. He didn't get it done. Look, but I will tell you, Stephen A., we can criticize Jimmy Butler, and it's fair. But I would go into any battle with that guy. I mean, I believe he's a winner.
So would I.
And I agree. But to your point, if he needed to get one game, I think Game 3 was the game. He couldn't do it by himself. And look, he didn't make an excuse, but you better believe that pelvic injury, that doesn't just go away in 3 days.
Okay.
And that would be but I still believe in Jimmy Butler.
Well, next year, when they try to run it back, they're going to have Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green, who will both be 36 years old at the time of the playoffs, and Steph Curry will be 38. So this is the core, but that's what they're trying to do, and that's an uphill climb against Father Time. Oh, I didn't even mean that to rhyme. The Joker and the Joker, apparently all in Denver, ready for this win-or-go-home game for the Mile High City. Why so serious? Well, because this is their season.